I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
And this is Mastodon. The name of the song is The Hunter by the big homie Muck Meh. For timely topical political commentary, you can hit us up at Middle America with Vin and Sori. If you are new to the channel, this one was not a metalhead. She wasn't even really allowed very much to listen to music growing up.
No, even Christian music.
Even Christian music she wasn't allowed to listen to. I was a hip-hop head, found Korn around Woodstock 99. But all I knew was Korn and Metallica, so I wasn't really a a metalhead. And then we found the channel, and then people started guiding us into all the different genres of metal. And we have so metalized. We've become so metalized that we're actually in a metal band now in our group, which is coming out very soon after Sori has her baby, so we can shoot this video. And our bassist just got his super important strings that he had to get custom ordered or whatever because he's a big famous person, whatever. But yeah, so there's that. So welcome to the village. Vin and Sori, Facebook.com/Vin and Sori. That's where we hang out all the time. And
links are in the description of the video.
If you get a message from somebody with our name on Facebook, that's me. I do 99% of the communication on Facebook and an email, vinandsori@gmail.com. She does all the 99.999% of discussions on Patreon are Sori. $1 at the gate gets you in. You get hooked up with an alliance, and the alliances pool their points together, and they decide what songs we do. Also, particularly for a situation like this, if you're a filthy capitalist, $125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You do that 3 times, and you get bumped down to the $75 rate, which he should be at, right?
Oh, yeah.
Muck Mez at the $75 rate. So keep that in mind next time, Muck, because if you send us $125, we're going to send it back to you. All right, that being the case, this is Mastodon. What's the name of the song?
The Hunter.
The Hunter. All right.
There we go.
Get these lyrics up. Spooky.
Yikes. Did this remind you of Cain and Abel at all?
Well, yeah, the mention of the brother part, but...
And where he says, through fire amber's glow, haunted I lift the stone, letting go your spirit flies.
Yeah, that's it. If you're assuming that Cain killed his brother with a rock.
Yeah. That's what most people think. I mean, I don't know if that's...
What do you mean that's what most people think?
Well, that's a typical story. If you look at all the books and whatever, the illustrations, it's always a stone. I mean, why, you believe he had a gun?
Yeah, this we could put him in a rear naked choke, kill him. You ever thought of that?
Yeah, but if he puts him in a rear naked choke, there's not going to be blood, right?
That's true. You're right. But if somebody chokes somebody to death, I'd still say there's blood on their hands. That's just a metaphorical way to say that they got killed,
I knew you were
right?
going to say that. When I said his blood was crying out from the ground.
And yet, you
still
use
said
the
it
same silly argument. Yeah.
And he said,
I know.
all the love I've shown and given to the ones I've known, all the love I make is equal to the love I take. It sounds like he did it.
All the life I've known and given to the life I've shown along the way. Yeah. That would be an interesting take, like on Cain's. I'm actually working on something right now.
Also
about Cain and Abel. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's a line that had been in my head for almost 10 years. There's one line that's been in my head for 10 years, and I'm just now like making a song about it, I think. But
see, growing up, me and my sister used to get in these fights, and like there was times where I think she like literally hated me and wanted to kill me. And so when the Cain and Abel story would come up, I always felt like, yeah, I could see that. Now as a parent, that is so terrifying to think that my one son could take up against my other son and kill him. I can't even, that is the, oh my gosh. And he says, free from it all, breathe in the darkest fall. Maybe that means the time of the year. Could be,
no,
because it was
no,
Cain and
no,
Abel,
I definitely see that Cain and Abel. Yeah.
We laugh and cry through a brother's eyes for now, through fire and
it is interesting the relationship you have with your, because I don't even really know what's happening right now. Like I had a little conflict. Yeah, I thought we were gonna whatever, fight it out or whatever, but like now it's just blown up into something that I'm not really sure what the hell happened. Like I'm not particularly certain like how the thing escalated to the point that it, and I'm not blaming anybody. I'm just like, you know, we've had disagreements or arguments before that were not, you know, it's like nah, okay.
Yeah.
And then you know, we kept it moving. So, you know, it's like last year I said, what the fuck did you say about me on Facebook, bitch? You said what? He's like, man, fuck you. And then like, a week later, he's like, not that, yeah, whatever. We just kept it moving like nothing happened. So, you know, I thought this last one was gonna be like that, and you know, now it's like this very strange situation, and I'm like, what the hell? But you know, I'm so busy right now. Like, I don't really have a lot of time to like, you know,
dig into that.
Yeah. You know, but I'm definitely.
I mean,
I'm definitely in a state of confusion at this point.
I don't think it's confusing at all.
Well, that's because that's like one of the first times that you were like in on it. But we've had other conflicts that I never told you about. I never told you about them
all
because
then,
you know I don't do that. Like,
I see.
What am I going to do? Go to you and say I'm going to fight my brother? Like,
I mean,
who does that? So
I know lots of people that tell their spouses
you
whatever's going on.
You just happened to be in the car when the whole situation went down.
Well, no, the initial message got sent to me.
Right, and like I said, yeah, but my initial message, we were in the car when the thing went down, so
yeah,
you know, so I it's not that. I mean, the situation in my mind was serious, and I addressed it as such. But like, as far as me and him goes, like, I didn't really think it was that like at that level. But then it got.
There's like a lot of other things too. It's not just
got
the one.
escalated to a whole bunch of shit, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
Like
it did. I said what?
All right, you know what I mean? Like, okay, like, so I don't know. It's just weird. I don't know.
Yeah.
But relationships with brothers are very, very strange at times. Very, very weird. But I mean, somebody died, but the song wasn't like an angry song to me. So I didn't really. It was sad. So I didn't really have like a Cain and Abel kind of vibe with it. I was more like his brother. But again, when you name the song "The Hunter," I guess you named the song "The Hunter." I could definitely get how you can.
Because Cain was the one that took care of the animals, and Abel was the other one. But I mean, when
right, Esau, same way.
How else could you read haunted? I lift the stone. Like, I didn't know if it wasn't anything about Cain and Abel, and it was something else.
I mean, me personally, I looked at it like, this is like a nature thing. You're breathing it in, the fire embers, like everybody's sitting around a fire, and then you take a stone and you put the fire out. Isn't that what you do? You throw a bunch of rocks over the fire, and that's what puts the fire out?
They usually put dirt, but
you put.
Sure, throw some rocks in there too. But
I just looked at it as a bunch of dudes chilling together, and I don't know if they're like it's your brother or your band brother. Maybe somebody in the band died. Whenever I hear this, I'm always looking for like, where did the OD story come in? But I didn't see anything about an OD. But I looked at it like they're sitting around. It's fall. They got their jackets. Everybody's around a fire, and they're reminiscing about the brother that they lost. And then it's time to go. So you have to put the rocks over the fire to let it go, and then
so they do this to let go of him.
Well, they're sitting around remembering him around the fire. Maybe the dude loved being around the fire or whatever, and it's a way of like keeping him, around you. But then, you put the fire out. It's awesome, and it's you got to get up and go on with life. You got to move on. At the end of the day, you have to move on. So whether you call that letting the person go or moving on with your life, it's still the same idea in my mind.
See, I can see that for every other relationship. The only relationship I can't see myself being able to say, okay, you got to move on, is if something happened to one of my kids.
Yeah.
That to me is.
Yeah, it's your word. It's.
That's. Yeah, that is it.
Your worst fear.
We have so many of them that, like sometimes I think, I don't know why I do this to myself, but sometimes I think, what if this one wasn't here? What if that, because sometimes these kids, man, they do stuff that's like, bah, why would you do that? Like, remember I said I had brought the kids to the library. This was like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Brought the kids to the library, and I had said, all right, hurry up, don't wait, I sent Dorian, so he was like 12 or 13 at the time. I said, don't dawdle, just get right in there, drop off the books, come right back out, because I had just a bunch of things to do. Well, again, Vin and I haven't been together our entire lives, so I'm used to the parenting that I did with Selah, which I don't have to tell Selah look both ways. Like, Selah does that on instinct. And so I just assumed that Dorian would do that too. And then he jumped out of the car. It was literally like, I can't even describe to you how close it was that he almost got hit by a car, and the car was coming so fast. Like, it was the freakiest thing. I've never forgotten it. It still freaks me out to this day. And I'm like, so sometimes I'll like think about that, and then I'll think, oh my gosh, like if one of them was, you know what I mean? Like, then you think about their influence on, they all do a significant amount of fucking up the environment, but at the same time, like, they all bring a different level of joy or personality or whatever, and it's like,
it wouldn't be the same.
It wouldn't,
including Orion.
It wouldn't. It would. It just, so I'm like, my word. Like the other ones, like if something happened to my parents or something happened to one of my siblings, like I would be really, shook up and sad about that. But I feel like, I don't know because I've never had it happen, but I feel like I would say to myself, okay, like pick yourself up, wash your face, you got to move on.
Well, I think part of the reason would be that you'd have to be strong for the kids.
Yeah. But you still would have to be strong for the kids if one of the kids, something happened to one of the kids. It's just like.
Being a parent is one of the worst. It's one of the, the whole concept of every rose having its thorns is like I don't think you can get higher than being a parent with that truth. Because it's the best thing. It's so strange. Probably because I wasn't supposed to be able to have kids. But when I tell people how many kids we have, and they're like, "Oh my God, I couldn't," blah blah blah, and you know, they're horrified, and like it's a joke. But I'm like, I don't know, man. My life would be. It's funny too because when the kids go, you know, they go out to their other parents. You know, Taylor goes off to her dad, and
the three go off to their mom,
and we just have to deal with Orion.
Yeah.
And the house is completely quiet. There's a certain degree of well-being that you feel.
There is. It's so weird because you're kind of like split. I'm like, oh, I miss them. I go through the same thing every week. When it gets close, they're gonna be leaving. I get really sad.
Yeah.
And then as they're all leaving, I'm all sad. And then like, especially as Orion's at the window saying bye to them, and then everybody's leaving. Then it gets like super quiet, and then I hate the sound of that silence. And so then I start playing with Orion, and it takes like, usually I put on The Office.
Yeah. Oh, is that why you always have The Office? Like, come on,
do you notice that The Office only plays when they're gone?
It's so true. That's true.
So I put on The Office because there's some, you know, there's some chaos, there's some whatever. But I eventually then I like kind of slip into the like, actually this is pretty cool.
My other brother is in it.
Enjoy it.
My other brother is in a bad situation. Like, I mean, he's in a bad situation on purpose, and that's what he wants to do, you know. And it's a virtuous reason, but you know, I'm kind of on complete edge until you know. He's he texts me that he's
Yeah.
But it was weird because when I was in those situations, you know, I was. When you're the one in the situation, you're fine.
Yep.
You know, but
yeah,
and it's funny because he's exactly like me. Like, he spent an hour and a half with me because he was able to get reception for whatever reason, and he didn't talk to any of his family.
Yeah.
And for 95%, that's how I was until the last one when and I ran up a legendary $60,000 bill and all this shit. Thank you, American taxpayer.
Did that make the trip harder?
Well, I mean, there were certain situations that made the trip almost damn near impossible. You saying, I don't know, I just have a really bad feeling about this trip. You can't go to this trip.
I know, I did.
And
I had no clue what was going on.
Guys are superstitious, man. And dudes be like, yo, man, you good? I'm like, yeah, obviously, I'm good.
Obviously.
I'm sitting there like, then that kids were telling me, don't go, which never happened. And then, you know, whatever. It was a terrible trip. Like, every phase of that trip was terrible. Having to go down to the, you had to go to the embassy and all this shit, and it almost screwed up my, I don't know. The whole thing was like doomed from the beginning, and I'm extremely surprised that I'm here in one piece. That's considering some of this. But yeah, like, now that I'm the one at home and my brother's out there, like,
I keep thinking, I just wish that they lived closer, so... But you don't even have any time. I wish they lived closer so that way you could spend some time with, you know, his kids, your nieces and nephews, especially your nephew, because I think that he needs some of that, you know what I mean? Like...
Well, yeah, they're not doing very well. It's the first time he's gone, you know?
But nobody wants to move to Maine.
But,
we're kind of stuck here for now.
Well, I mean, it's not really like he had a big choice in the matter. I'm just like, I didn't have he's in Houston. I was in Houston, and he was in Houston. You don't have a choice.
Yeah.
You gotta go. So you signed up for it, so. But, anyway, hopefully he's got like 2 weeks left, so.
What do you think about this line? His thorns are on the road. His thorns are on the road.
I don't know. Anyway, what do you give the song?
Honestly, I was a little distracted by the lyrics because it sounded so much like Cain and Abel, but I feel like I'm wrong on that, but that's all I could get out of it, so I was like a little distracted by that, so it's a little bit hard to rate. but I enjoyed it. And, you know, the story kind of like sucked me in. I guess I'll go with a 9.2.
The 9.6 for me. The guitars were very, very expressive. That's one of the things that I really, really love. And that's something that I've discovered is like playing guitar now and like going through like they're, you know, like they get an instrumental for the baby and all that. Like there's a certain, like you feel a certain thing when you sing as far as expression goes, but there's a whole world of feeling that when you play. Like certain notes and chords or whatever at certain times and progressions are just like very, very impactful. So I could tell, like there was a time in the song I was like, oh, like chilly, because like I would know how that would feel. So that's a 9.6 for me.
Yeah, I think I'll match you on that. There was a part where I got chills. I don't remember which part it was, but all right, 9.6.
Sonically, it was crazy. Good selection. There you go, brothers. What can you do? Vin out.
Sorry out.
Gone.